some questions that we get asked, those questions aren't stemmed from hate, but if anything, they're stemmed from hurt. So without further ado, I'm not going to waste anyone's time. We're going to get straight into this video and we're going to answer common questions asked by non-Christians regarding who God is. Hello guys, beautiful souls, welcome to another video today. This is a place where faith meets reality. Jesus is always at the center. My name is Kia Naomi. Here I share real life testimonies, godly wisdom and encouragement to help you grow truth and with grace. So if you're here for the real talk, purposeful living, and of course Jesus Christ himself, then you are in the right place. You're right where you belong. Let's not waste too much time, guys. Let's get straight into this video. But before I even get straight to the common questions asked, I'm gonna give you guys a hypothetical story time so that everything makes sense. Meet Sarah. Sarah isn't an atheist. She actually wants to believe in God, but life hasn't been easy. She lost a family member suddenly. She's dealing with anxiety she doesn't fully understand. She's prayed and nothing seems to change. So now she's sitting in her room thinking, if God is real, why does this hurt so much? Why does he feel silent? Does he really care about me? And if he is loving, why does hell still exist? And honestly, maybe you've asked those same questions too. So let's get into the first question, and that is, if God is real, why is there so much suffering? That's a very good question. Now let's sit with this question for a second, okay? Because this is a very common question. A lot of people ask these questions every single time. Why, if God is so loving, why would he let these things happen to people? Why would he allow this happen? Why is there so much suffering? Now here's the thing that people forget to realize, or that people don't always say clearly. God didn't create a world full of pain. Actually, the world was very perfect, sinless. There was no pain, there was no suffering. It was perfect. There was nothing wrong with this world. He created world with freedom, the option to choose for yourself. Basically, he did not create robots. Freedom means choice, having the freedom to move around, and choices means people can choose wrong. So if we go back to, back to the beginning of time, in the time of Genesis, where God specifically instructed them, don't eat the fruit of knowledge of good and evil, right? He gave them the choice to test them if they truly love him enough to listen to him, or are they going to completely discard what he just commanded them not to do and listen to a complete stranger. Let me give you guys an example. Let me give my mom an example. There's been times where when we were younger, she would always instruct us. When we were younger, she would always instruct us, do not take sweets from someone you don't know. Even if you do know them, if they give you sweet, do not take it. And I remember those times when someone would offer us sweets and I have to look at my mom just to make sure, like, is it okay if I can take the sweet or not? Is this person trustworthy enough to take the sweet or not? So I remember when I was younger, my mom would always tell me, do not eat sweet from strangers. Do not take a sweet, especially from a stranger that you don't know. If a stranger comes to you, like they taught us in school, stranger danger, right? If a stranger comes to you, offers you sweet, don't take it. If anything, run, right? That was always instilled in my brain, right? To never eat from a stranger's hand, because you just do not know the type of person that they are, right? Yes, maybe they are just an innocent, normal, regular person that just wants to share their sweets with you, but this person could also be a predator. You don't really know, right? It's the same thing in this situation, right? When God commanded that don't eat this fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, to test them, do they love him enough to listen to his command, or are they going to trust the stranger, which they eventually did, right? Listening to the serpent, when the serpent told them, oh, surely you will not die, right? They were enticed, they were groomed, they were convinced to do something that is against God's commandment, right? It's like a stranger grooming a child, or it's like not even a child, even a grown adult. It's like a complete stranger convincing you to do something that deep in your heart you know, oh, but this person told me not to do this, or this person I trust or care for or cares for me told me not to do this, don't go there. But then because this person is feeding you with, he's enticing you with sweet words and promises and fake promises, false promises that don't even exist, right? You get enticed. You eventually fall for that trap of the enemy. You slowly start to believe in the enemy rather than believing in the creator, the one that created you, right? So because of that, the first human, what did they do? They made the first choice. The first horrific choice was to listen to a serpent rather than to follow God. And because of that, sin entered the world, and now we live in a sinful world that, yes, although yes, we have the freedom to move around and to do whatever we want, we also have the freedom to do wrong. We also have the freedom to reject God. We also have the freedom to choose him. We have the freedom to walk astray. We have freedom to do all sorts because we are humans. We're not robots, right? So choices means, again, like I mentioned, choices means that people will choose wrong. People will choose to do wicked. People will choose to hurt others. People will choose to hurt themselves. A lot of pains that we see, violence, betrayal, whether within family, whether within relationships, whether within our community, our society, all of that comes from human decision. It doesn't come from God's desire. Okay, but what about the pain I didn't choose? That's a very good question. That's where we live in what the Bible calls the fallen world. Because we live in a fallen world, we live in a world, even though the first human committed this sin, we in this world, in this fallen world, we didn't ask for this, right? We didn't ask for this, but unfortunately we are born into it. So because we are born into this fallen world, a world that is broken, that is not functioning in the way God originally intended for it to function, right? Because of that, we now live in a world where there is suffering, there is challenges, there is we have to experience pains that we didn't ask for, pains of losing loved ones, pains of going through rejection, pains of being hurt and going through traumas and all of that stuff, things that we didn't necessarily ask for, right? This was not our choice, right? But here's what changes everything, is that God didn't stay distant from suffering. He did not just sit in the far end corner and just watch us deal with the pain and the suffering and the challenges on our own. Like, he was with us. He stepped into it as well. He didn't just leave us. Since the beginning, even when he casted Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden, he still watched over them. He still took care. When we fast forward to the time of Jesus and him coming into this world, he didn't come to avoid pain. He experienced pain himself. He didn't just try to avoid pain and try to live a peaceful life and living like a king in a mansion, eating good food and all that stuff. No, he experienced what regular folks was experiencing in that time, experienced what poor people experienced in that time, because he wasn't rich. He experienced everything: the rejection, the loss, the betrayal, even death. Yes, he experienced death. So Christianity doesn't say God watches your pain from the distance. That's not what Christianity is about. God understands your pain from experience, because he experienced it himself. Jesus experienced it himself when he took human form, human flesh, came onto this earth. He experienced it himself as well. When you think of this question in particular, it wasn't the fact that God created suffering. No, that was not his intention. That was not his plan. That was not his original plan for this world. It wasn't God that created suffering. It was the choice of human that brought sin into this world, and over time suffering came with it. Next question that is quite commonly asked, even amongst Christians as well, is that, especially when you're going through a challenge in your life, that is, why does God feel silent? Back to Sarah, the story that I told you about earlier. She prayed, she cried, she waited, right? And still there was a silence. Have you ever been in that position where you've prayed, you've cried out to God, you're screaming from the top of your lungs, you're on the ground, you know, the whole floor is drenched in your sweat, your tears, right? And yet you feel silent. It starts to feel like rejection, right? You start to feel like you feel rejected. Basically, you feel rejected. Silence doesn't always mean absence. And that's the one thing that everyone needs to understand, including myself, is that silence doesn't always mean rejection. It just means God is working behind the scenes. Okay, think about it this way. Have you ever had a moment where someone, or have you ever experienced a moment, or been in a moment, had a moment where someone was working on something for you specifically? Have you ever been in that situation where someone has been doing something special for you and you didn't realize it until it was presented to you in the moment? Let's say you have a friend, right? This friend has been there for you from the start, right? You're going through stuff and you confide in your friend. Your friend is there for you, supporting you and all that stuff. Little do you know, your friend behind the scene is doing something very special for you, is planning out something, is planning out a trip, planning out activities or things to do, right? Is doing these things for you behind the scenes. So in the moment, yes, you're expressing your anger, your frustration, your hurt to this friend, and your friend is listening, your friend is, you know, taking it all in, but your friend's not saying much, and you feel like, maybe I'm talking too much, maybe this friend doesn't really care, maybe, you know, all of that stuff. But little do you know, this same friend is soaking it all in, doing something for you special. And then when that time comes to you, presents this to you, oh, by the way, I thought we'd go out for a holiday, just you and me. I bought us a ticket, I've arranged some few activities for us to do, just to make you feel happy and at peace, and just to bring, you know, a smile on your face, right? And you feel taken back, like, oh wow, you did this for me, kind of thing. You did this for me, like I thought you didn't care. I thought, oh, maybe I was doing too much, maybe I was talking too much, maybe I was complaining, all of that stuff, right? Little do you know, this friend is doing something extra special for you, just to make you feel happy and special, and to make you, and for you to know that, oh, she or he is there for you, right? This is just an example, right? But think of it in this way. It doesn't mean that they don't care. It just means that they just had an unfinished, the process was unfinished, and they just wanted to make it perfect for you. It's the same with God. It's not that he's silent, it's the fact that he is doing something for you behind the scenes. You just don't know it yet because it hasn't come to pass physically. The Bible says God's ways are higher than ours, which honestly can be frustrating. I know, I've been in that situation many times. Sometimes I feel like, God, when? How long? How long am I going to wait for this? Like, my patience, and I'm quite a patient person, but my patience like slowly running thin at this point. Like, how long am I going to wait? But yes, it can be very frustrating to have to wait. At the end of the day, he always shows. That's the best part about God, is that no matter how long you wait, he will show up eventually. So for us as humans, we want the answers now, right? We want it today. Like, sometimes I ask God, why, when, why is this happening to me? Why is this? Why is that? Like, me personally, I wanted the answers yesterday. Whatever I asked today, I want it yesterday, right? So we all want the questions now. We all want it now, but sometimes God is doing something that is deeper than what we asked for. We might ask for one flower, right? One stem of flower or whatnot, but God is having a whole bouquet of roses prepared for us, right? We might want one thing basic, and he's doing something beautiful and extraordinary, right? We just have to wait for that time to come. Not just changing our situation, but actually strengthening us, healing us, and reshaping us in the process. So whilst he is making something beautiful for us, or getting us prepared for that moment, or waiting for our prayers to be answered, he is in the process strengthening us for that moment, healing us, and also reshaping us. You might ask, let's say for example, you are someone who's been single for a while. Someone who's been single for a while, you have the desire to get married, you want to have kids someday, you want to build your home, you want to start a family, right? And you feel like you're ready right now, you feel like you are prepared, you're ready, and you want it today. In fact, you wanted it yesterday. So you pray, you cry, you scream, you beg God, when, how, why? Like, why is this taking so long? Why is my man not coming my way? Why do I not have kids yet? In my 30s, what's going on? I ain't getting any younger. I ain't getting any younger, right? Little do you know, God is shaping you, preparing you, strengthening you, reshaping you for that right time, when you will be able to, when that time to have kids, get married, all that stuff. Because he sees, as of right now, even though mentally or physically you might think you're ready, but he sees you. He knows you more than you know yourself, and he sees, I know you think you're ready, but I'm telling you, you're not ready. You're not ready yet. and this is not the time for you to be with anyone. I want you to focus this time on yourself, on healing, on your own personal journey, on your own spiritual journey. I want you to focus on that, because right now you're not where I want you to be. You know, he wants you to be prepared for that moment, but until then, until that time comes when he gives you that gift that you've been asking and praying for, he wants you to be stronger now, to be strengthened in this moment, to be going through healing process. Because a lot of times we ask God to, like, oh, give us a relationship, for example, right? And you think you're ready, but deep down inside you might have some inner trauma, toxic traits. You might have toxic traits that you didn't know you had, right? You might have unhealed trauma, unhealed situation. You know, many times people jump from one relationship to the next and they haven't fully healed from the past, right? You're begging for marriage, but you haven't truly healed from the previous one, right? So until that day comes, you need to work on that. You need that time to be focused and to heal and to you know, just be in the right path. I hope I'm making sense. But you know, even Jesus on the cross said, my God, why have you forsaken me, right? So if you've ever felt like God is silent and you feel like he's not listening, he's not there, you're not crazy for feeling this way. You're not alone. I want to make that clear as well. You're definitely not alone. He's definitely watching you. And trust me, you're not the first to feel this way. And I want you to know one thing, is that just because he's silent, it doesn't mean he's rejected you. It just means that he's working behind the scenes, and the day will come when your prayers will be answered. It's just a matter of time. And in the meantime, whilst that's happening, whilst he's on the process, while he's in the process of getting that prayer answered, right, and to give it to you in a platter of gold, he's gonna use this silent time to strengthen you, to heal you, to strengthen your patience, to reshape you, to transform you, to renew you. Okay, because a lot of us actually need a lot of reshaping. We need shaping up, we need a bit of reality check as well, yeah. We need a bit of healing as well as strength to go through the silent phase.